Where we're at.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here on week 13 of the podcast. So I'm, of course, Gregor Guy, depending upon how you know me, joined here by Mr. Casey and Mr. Cuz. We got the goddamn fucking OG crew back together.
5M, bitch.
I'm glad you're feeling better, man.
Thank
It
you.
was a rough past couple weeks.
God, I'm glad you're back.
Although we did have some good times.
Yes. What's the podcast about?
Virtual world.
Got any ideas for this virtual world?
I'm gonna roll with it.
You're going to let it go completely off the rails.
It's already off the rails.
No, I'm talking like down into the meadow.
It's well beyond the meadow. We were already like traveling along on a bridge, and we've already tumbled like fucking
Wile E.
600 feet
Coyote
into the
threw
water.
TNT on it, and Roadrunner kicked it off.
Well beyond that. Thanks to you.
Now we got Daria saying, "What?
The fuck is Daria?"
See what I'm saying? Alright, fair enough. Anyway. Moving on, or
I don't know, you tell me."
moving on. Did I actually make it all the way through introductions?
I have no idea.
You didn't even.
Either way, this week here we are going to talk about the virtual world.
Mr. Casey.
This is idea that you proposed to me. So I'm going to throw it to you first. Let me get your thoughts on, I guess, whether or not we are living in a simulation. If we are, the simulation fucking sucks.
I don't think that currently we are living in this a simulation. I think that it's something, in my personal perspective, that we are going to. I mean, to some levels, we are living in a virtual world when it comes to like social media sites and things like that. But I think that eventually we're going to plug ourselves in and we're going to allow ourselves to live in virtual worlds rather than real life. Kind of like the Matrix, how you want to say that the robots enslaved us. I don't think they're going to force us to walk into those machines. I feel like we are going to walk into them and plug ourselves in.
Because we're too self-aware about reality. So we're going to go into a virtual world to make ourselves feel better.
Well, you have to think about why we play video games. Why we play video games.
Escape reality.
To be entertained and
it
escape
sucks.
reality. And there's multiple different types of reality that can be created. In fact, some people play games that almost reflect real life. I don't know the names of certain games like that, but there are games like that
You know what's interesting is that there was an actual study on your personality versus the types of games that you play.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, like, if you were to play, like, Gears of War, your personality type would fit that type of game genre. Or, like, first-person shooter, shoot everyone. Or if you go to, like, the RPG fantasy thing. You know what I mean? Like a Diablo. You know what I mean?
I think
so
it goes.
your personality goes towards what type of genre?
I think it goes both ways. I think that you're predetermined to want to kind of live that lifestyle, and I also think when you're in it, it also influences you. It also depends on how good the game is.
Right. Because you can jump into any one as long as you, like we stated before, you escape reality.
Right. You have something to say?
I don't know. Am I allowed to talk now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Where does virtual reality and augmented reality play into this? Is that not like already starting to plug yourself into these particular types of systems and so on and so forth?
That's where Elon Musk and his fucking neurochip.
Elon Musk doesn't give a fuck about, the Neuralink thing. Oh shit, I didn't even think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Neuralink too.
Right. I mean, we're plugging ourselves in more and more every single day.
Have you not also heard about these motherfuckers getting the RFID chips implanted in themselves in order to unlock their fucking house and shit like that?
And go into their actual job.
I think that's a it's definitely crossing the line, personally, in my opinion.
It's still a prototype, but it's still happening.
To have chips inside of your body. I get it. Every day we walk around with a chip on our body.
Right, but, actually implanting it.
But to
into
actually
your body,
implant a chip is crossing a line for me.
But it's going to evolve from the phone to something else, right? Like it's going to be on your forearm or whatever it may be.
Also, at the same point in time, what's it really matter if you're plugging into the virtual world and you're just fucking off over there on that,
Right.
like, timescape?
If it makes you feel better,
Well, my just personally, my cross the line is to actually put something foreign into my body that does not belong there.
but if other people test it, and there's no like.
What about alcohol?
I choose to put alcohol into my body.
Right.
Something foreign that
But
doesn't belong there.
I will not.
It's a big definition. I mean, you understand.
Right, yeah, I understand it's very vague. I will not
I mean, if we're going to
put
go down that
any
road,
A physical object.
physical computer chip into my body. I will not. I mean, if I have a heart attack and somebody wants to if they put like a heartbeat monitor or something like that inside
If
me,
I have a heart
that's
attack,
fine.
do not resuscitate me.
I would prefer not
It's on the
to.
internet now, boys.
But anything that can track me or control me,
everything.
I understand.
You're in America.
I understand. There's a lot of stuff going around.
You have a Facebook
They
account.
try to implant they try to change history, and they try to implant propaganda into you so that you act. And
Psychological manipulation.
Right.
Do you have a Facebook account?
I used to
You used
a
to.
couple of years ago.
Oh, so you deleted it?
I believe it still exists, but I do not use it.
Okay, fair enough. All right. I was going to say, if you have a Facebook account, they are tracking you, and they are trying to use you to bend to their will.
Okay.
I do not
use.
use
I'm going to go down that route.
right
You have a
Facebook
phone.
or any other social media.
Do you search things on your phone?
Yes, but I use
Okay.
I use DuckDuckGo.
Well, it doesn't even matter. Porn.
DuckDuckGo.
Everything that your thoughts go through on that phone, they're recording it.
I use DuckDuckGo, which blocks websites from tracking.
It doesn't matter. They're still tracking you, bro.
I understand that there's the probability that they could still
It makes
get
you
that
feel better.
information, but I does make me feel better that I believe that I am at least somewhat protected onto my searches. Although I don't search anything that would be considered in the. I don't want to say mainstream because mainstream's gone off the fucking rails
Yeah. What is
in
mainstream?
these years. But anything that
Tranny's
could be
mainstream.
legally or morally incorrect, because first of all, I don't look up anything that would be morally incorrect anyways.
What is morally? Depends on what your morals are.
That is also true, but that's not that would be considered illegal. In
Right. That's what it comes down to. There's a gray area.
Searching something that would be considered illegal. What? Okay.
Generally speaking, the laws. I do want to say that generally speaking, the laws that are in place, not perfect, but they do
They're generalized.
generally follow along a moral pathway. The problem is that nowadays the laws that are in place are not being enforced or are being enforced incorrectly in some instances.
But some of them are being enforced incorrectly too.
Correct. Or not being enforced at all, which would be a bigger